Rink-wide Vancouver Canucks draft recap. Wadden and J-Pat here with you as the 2023 NHL draft is now in the books. J-Pat, the Canucks have them seven new prospects.
Yeah, they went into Nashville with 7 picks and they used them all. So no trade activity, no fireworks in that regard. They used the picks as they had them. They clearly identified a defensive need. I think everybody in the hockey world knew that they needed help on the blue line, and the Canucks addressed that so they can check that box off, and now the waiting game begins to see how much help they actually mined out of the 2003 draft class.
Now everybody's interested in the first round pick, and of course 11th overall for the Canucks. They go to Sweden, as they often do, the Vancouver Canucks, this time for a right-shot defenseman, Tom Willander.
And I like an awful lot about Tom Willander, and clearly the Canucks did as well. I liked what I had seen and what I had read about him, but boy, when I heard him speak and when he was interviewed afterwards, engaging, intelligent, had a sense of humor, sounded really mature for an 18-year-old, and of course, English is a second language here. Now, he's going to go to Boston University, so he's taking a bit of a unique path in his development, but I like that as well. But I think the Canucks just landed themselves a really well-rounded, a guy that can excel at both ends of the ice, reliable, trustworthy. I think there is a little bit of offense to his game that maybe he hasn't tapped into just yet, and the Canucks are going to be patient with him. I think he's a couple of years away, but more than anything, a right-shot guy, and that is one of the things that was right up there at the top of their wish list, and one of the things that they had to accomplish was beefing up the right side of their blue line. They've done that with Tom Willander.
They had 6 picks in day 2, but they didn't have a second, a 5th, or a 7th. So fill us in on the 6 picks that they had in the 3, 4th, and 6th round.
Well, they continued down that path of developing defensemen. They took 2 of them in the 3rd round. They had a couple of picks back, not quite back-to-back, but pretty close together in the 3rd round. Hunter Brustevich is a guy that put up big numbers in Kitchener and plays that sort of modern, skates well, transitions and transports the puck. One of the highest scoring defensemen in the Ontario Hockey League this season, and was the highest scoring defenseman on his team in Kitchener. So, 75th overall in the 3rd round. It's a bit of a hope bet, but I think there's something there to like in Hunter Brustevich. Beyond that, this is where things start to get interesting for the Vancouver Canucks. And again, when you're picking in the 3rd round, you're hoping to identify talent that maybe other teams aren't looking at. You're hoping to find guys that, still have plenty of room to develop their game. And so Sawyer Mineo is a guy that is from Kamloops, so he's a BC boy, but he played for the Western Hockey League champion Seattle Thunderbirds. He's a left-shot defenseman. That Seattle team was an absolute outfit this year, went all the way to the Memorial Cup final. Didn't get the job done ultimately, but the Canucks think that they have found a guy that can come in at some point into their system and help them out. And certainly getting a chance to develop in a system like the Seattle Thunderbirds, the way that they have been the last couple of years, that's certainly going to boost a player's development.
4 defensemen, 3 forwards the Canucks take in the draft. No goaltenders? Did that surprise you at all?
A little bit, only because Ian Clark has shown in the past, if he strongly believes that there's a guy that he wants to have in the system, that he thinks he can work with and develop, then he's not afraid to express that to Canucks management, and usually they listen. So that tells me that there wasn't that apple of his eye in this year's draft class. There were no first-rounders when it came to goaltenders this year. A little bit of a run on goalies early on day 2. I think there were 5 in the 2nd round. But yeah, the Vancouver Canucks abstained from selecting a goaltender here in 2023. So as you said, 4 defensemen, 3 of them are right shots, and then a couple of centers and a winger as well.
7 new prospects in the system for the Canucks. We'll see which one of them will don the jersey here in Vancouver in the future. This has been another edition of the Rink-wide Vancouver podcast presented by Bodog. For Jeff Paterson, I'm Andrew Wadden. Remember, Rink-wide is the show that always scores.